Hey, so we have a Taylor machine we're pulling apart. The location has been sanitizing it, but they haven't been mechanically pulling it apart. So if you're not familiar with Taylor machines, this stem is in the very back and it's got a gasket, and that's what connects to the drive rod. This one is stuck. I've run into this before where it's not stuck in the drive rod. It'll pull forward. So it'll pull forward to there. I don't know if you can see it. It'll pull forward to there and it just gets stuck. So I put a little Zoom Spout oil on it a few minutes ago, and in my experience, that frees it up. And if so, we'll get to show you here. As you can see, I don't have a big arm, so it's helpful. Yep. Now she comes right out. Okay. So, take a look at that. Look at how dry the grease heated up and then solidified, and it's actually made almost like little rings, and that little ring isn't going to let it pull out. It needed the oil. I mean, I was pulling it with everything you can pull, but granted, you've only got this to work with. So, alright. If I gotta put this stuff apart on the regular, more than just sanitize. Alright, here's the breakdown. So I have cleaned, scrubbed, and so by that I mean you take the brushes and you run them in and out of all the orifices. These come off, cleaned. These go back on. I wanted to start with these, so I look at the difference. So these get a little lube on the top. The collar goes on. I lube that. I actually put a little lube around the edge, and I put a little lube on the tip. This is going to go into a beater coupler, and it's just going to help it to seat proper. So we'll start with those. And then these are going to get lubed and go on there. Right? They are lipped on one side, and that lip goes right in there. Okay? And then these will get lubed up. These get people. So this unit goes in this way, and I'll show you when we actually do it. And these little collars come in pairs. So there's lefts and rights. You'll notice it's not the same, right? These two are the same, and these two are the same. If you put them like that and go, oh, there's a pair, notice that the bars on this are 180 degrees opposite, so that's not the way it's going to go. It's going to go this way, and it's going to hug the posts. All right, that goes on that way. I never tried to do this one-handed before. There you go. And now when this feeds in, that is correct. If this is overextended past the metal, you've got them on wrong. So those go on there. As far as the valves go, we remove the O-rings and we use a little brush and we scrub the openings. We inspect the O-rings and put them back on. So these O-rings are in good shape, even for not being changed in a long time. There's no nicks, there's no issues with them, so I was able to just put them right back on. But you have to take them off, otherwise you get milk and bacteria growing on the back side of it. So, alright, so we're at this point. Let me get these set, and then we'll drop those in. While the parts were soaking, I got my Canon brush. I'll show you, it's back there. But it's a brush that fits, so we dip it in the actual soap, scrub it, dip it in the sanitizer, scrub it, and that gets you a nice clean barrel. Here's how I roll with these. So by lubricating the tip like that, when I stick it through, it's going to smear it down the whole shaft. And then here gets smeared along the whole thing. Alright? And then this sets in, and then you turn, there you go. There's a slot in it. Right, so now that I know it's improper, it won't turn left or right. So it's got a hex head on it. So it'll slide through till it hits the coupler. Okay. To this side, this is the side that was stuck before. So, all right, I'm through the first wall. Now I'm pushing and I'm spinning, click, and it just dropped in. Beautiful. All right, moving on. Okay, as we come to the spout assembly, so we've got 3 nozzles, and if you'll notice, 2 of them are identical, both in the fact that they have 1 hole only and the angle of the spout. The third one has 2 holes, but also the angle of the spout is different. So that denotes to you which one is the center. So again, I put a drop there. See how well we can do this with one. All right, we lube up the gaskets really well. All right, lube everything up. Let's see here. Hang on. Like that. All right. Let's bring this out here to the edge so we can see it. Here's a big thing. So some people take this and they try and push it down. If you do that, you can pinch the gasket. You have to twist. So the whole time you twist, you twist, you twist, and it drops right in. That way. Click, and now you're in. If you try and force it and push it in, you can actually pinch that gasket going in. It'll sever it. You'll never know until you prime the unit, and then it's leaking milk, and you go, man, you gotta drain it, re-pull it all apart because you didn't twist. It's not about forcing it in. Twist it. Finished product. So all 3 valves are NVs, just like the others. Get lubed up and then spun in place. Okay. And make sure these are on. These don't need to be lubed or anything. This one is really tight. What's up with that? I took it off, put it back on, and it's tight. Hang on. All right, not sure what was up with that, but or there's a little piece of debris or something, but that sucker was on there tight. All right, so I've got those lubed, everything's set here. Your beaters and your blades will only go together one way. There's a hook, there's a knob. Sets in the whole track and then done. The beater should feel a nice sharp edge on it. It's not going to cut you, but it is a nice edge. If it feels like a dull edge, then maybe time to change your blades. All right, let's grab this. Hang on. When you put this in, if you put the blade, right, it goes with the plastic end to the outside. Put it with the bottom blade down. Now that'll hold it for you while you work this in. Okay, and then you're going to have to spin it because, I don't know if I'll get you a look in there. Our pin that we put in had a very specific shape. It matches this. Now we're in. All right, we'll grab the other one. Hold our blades. Okay, blades at the bottom. So take a look at the angle. It's like this, right? And so you can see my spot. So once we go in, we're gonna have to turn it counterclockwise. Click, and now we're in. All right. All is well. Next, stem. I said the stems as I picked up the mounting stems. Those. So again, my black rings are lubricated. All right, we're ready to go. It's gonna slide right in the center. Mount on its 4 studs. Yeah, you have to make sure these are all off. And there you go. Now we use our studs Which is funny, I've seen them that they've been different lengths, and I've seen them where they're the same. In this store, they're the same length, which is strange because one of them is not very long needed at all, while the other ones are. So, alright, let me get these put on. Not gonna waste your time. Alright, so regarding the pump section, a couple points of interest. There's this little quick connect hose. This is the bane of the whole system. The reason being, it's really hard to get a brush in there to clean it because of the quick connect end. But you can get the back side of a brush in to clean it. Here's what I mean. So this is the tiny little brush we use. It won't fit in, but the other side will. And all you really need is to run some good hot sanitizer through there, create some pressure. That's not enough. But while plunging it with the back end, that'll clear. Also, make sure you take off the little rings, because underneath that, it was, you know, spoiled milk. So one little drop of lube on there will make it stick in the right place. And then this, obviously, quick connect goes to one side. This is the same. This has to come off and be cleaned because it's gross on this end. Now it's not. So that'll hook back into there. Okay. And then that will connect to this end. I undid this hose and I plunged it. And I undid this hose and I plunged it with the long reach. Because you can't just run sanitizer through it. It's not going to get it. It needs the friction of the brush. The pump. Okay, so pump, basic, simple. This is kind of like the spout. So we take this over there. We used our removal tool to take these off, to take the O-rings off, to clean the residue behind all of this stuff, because there will be. And then put it all back together. I haven't lubed it yet. So what's going to happen is this is going to get lubricated, and it's going to push down through and sit at the bottom. And then this is going to get lubricated all around, and we're going to put lubrication in here. So we'll get everything in position and show you. Okay, so I lubed the orange ring of that, and I slid it down so it's in here and navigable. This is all lubed, and I've got a dollop in the tip. Okay, so this is going to go into here, and again, I'm not going to push straight down. I'm going to twist as I work it in. Hang on. Okay, so while we've got that set, it's still not in position yet, because you'll see there is a pass-through hole and a pass-through hole. That's going to come, get lined up. This is very difficult to do one-handed. Alright, and then get in place. Hang on. Alright, I have it really ready to go now. So there's a metal knockout and a metal ball. So when that goes, gets it right, now we're straight through. Okay, when it comes to this little guy, same thing, lube on here. I'm going to put a tiny little bit of leftover lube. I'm sorry, I didn't remember what I'm showing you. On the, they call it a poppet. Right? This is going to slide in here. And again, you got to make sure that poppet is on there. So the spring is seated right. The orange ring is lubed. It's going to go in, push down, and then this pin is going to go through, and that goes through a groove in the white plastic, and now it's attached. So now the pump is ready to be put back on. We'll reassemble our loose pieces and catch you at the machine. Okay, we're getting close. Thanks for sticking with me. All right, so I've got this on, has its little gasket. Quick connect on there, quick connect on down here. Okay, Alright, so this is the pump system. If I press the pump button, the wheel spins. Alright, so let's take a look. If we stop it at 12 o'clock, it ends at 3. So let's do this. We'll stop at 3 o'clock, and it ends at 6. 9 o'clock. Oh, missed it. Alright, let's do this anyway. I've seen this one bite many an assembler. This pump has a hole on the top, and it has that. So you can take a look at where's my little knuckle and where's the receiver. So you have to set the pump so that I can feel that I'm pumping the white piston right now by moving it up and down until click, that drops into there. Except I'm being stupid. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this with one hand, but we'll do our best. So this has to be on here and ready to go, because once this gets in place, then that gets locked on. What can happen, depending on where this piston is that I've seen them put the pump on and then have the little pad, the little pin right there at the top, and it'll seemingly sit flat, and they'll let you lock it in place, but the moment you try to turn the pump, it tries to move and it can't, and then it trips the little relay inside and the motor doesn't work. And you know that because if you take everything off and press pump, it doesn't spin. So I always say just do one side at a time, because that way once you put it back in, what you'll notice is one of them's hanging way down and the other one's up here, then you'll know you had it wrong. But let me get this in place. Alright, so once that was in place, then I was able to slide this up, push that pin through, and now we're good. So the hose that's attached to the back end there, can't get it wrong, there's only one threaded place it can go. Tighten that up. Okay, then we take our mix out sensor, which this has got to be the worst setup by Taylor, because they just click in place by those little contacts, and this is not a light thing, and if it gets bumped at all, it breaks out. And then this one, the reason you'll see they have it tied up is one of those little contacts broke, so it still sits in there, but it doesn't give it enough support. In any case, now we make sure our duck bill is looking good in there, okay? And then we put this in our sanitizer and prime the system, make sure it doesn't leak. To prime the system, you press wash. So when you press wash, the beater is spinning. So I do have my sanitizer here. I'm gonna press pump, and we should watch. Yep, water flow. So we're working. So again, this is sanitizer, so we're going to run this through now, because I've touched all sorts of stuff. So we're going to run this through and let it run for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes with the beater on, and then we're good to go. Now here's an interesting, what I was talking about. Why is it leaking from the middle? Well, the only reason it would be leaking from the middle would be if one of those gaskets in the middle, stop the pump, isn't properly sealing. So even though it looked good, something's wrong. And the proper thing to do now is to drain this with the pump, sorry that was loud, with the pump off, drain it, get all the fluid out of it, take this head off, take this valve off, see what's going on with those middle gaskets, because obviously it's leaking. You can probably, when it's ice cream and it's frozen, it won't leak. But, I mean, that's kind of shady. If you're doing a cleaning and it's leaking, take it apart and fix it. So, I took it apart and I really didn't see anything wrong with the gaskets, but I changed the gaskets anyway, and now we've got, and it's not leaking. So yeah, even though visually and by touch they all seemed good, something was up with one of them. So that's why we check it this way. All right, so the unit is primed. I know that because the pump button is on and it's not pumping. So I'm now going to hit wash. The beater's going to spin. We're full of sanitizer. I'm going to let this go while I rip down the right side. So then when that's done and assembled, I'll bring you back for the priming of the cream. So I've got all the pumps off. I've had the valves open and we're just dripping them out. I personally, I take the head off and I drain, like there's nothing in this hose. I drain the sanitizer out of the hoses and then I connect to the bags. So we're connected to the bags. Our valves are open. We're gonna actually open the bleed valves too. Okay, and now I'm just gonna turn on the pump. We'll do one side at a time. So here comes the, no we won't, we'll do them both. Okay, so here comes the pump. You can see the tiny bit of sanitizer that's in there. It's just sitting at the bottom of the barrel. It's gonna be pushed out by the cream. And you're gonna see it'll be making, how it's kind of splashing all around from a direction perspective. It's kind of leaking forward. Well, as it turns to just the mix, it's gonna solidify and come straight down. Also, you see there's bubbles as it splashes. Well, cream cuts through and doesn't make bubbles. So, still making a mess. We don't want to close it yet. Don't want to close it yet. There we go. Nope. Ooh. Look at that. Okay, see how it's a smooth stream now? And it's not making bubbles? Done. So we're a fairly smooth stream here. I need to see if it's making bubbles or if it's not. Not quite. And once it starts leaking out the back, and we close this, there it goes. Okay, we close that. Close this, and we're primed up. Now we let them fill. Okay, so both pump lights are on, but it's not pumping. That indicates that they're full. We can test that by pulling a little here in the pump kit. Okay, so we're good to go. We're gonna put it in freeze. And those machines are primed. I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna start pulling down this one, but that's Duke. We've done that a lot, so I wanted to show you the electro-freeze, or the Taylor one. I'll show you the last one when we draw. All right, so it's satisfied, right? Which means the compressor shut off, it hit its temperature. And the correct thing to do is to leave it sit for 3 cycles. So it satisfies at 5 below, then it turns off and it raises up to 17. And so you want to let it do that 3 times. So while I was cleaning this machine, I've let it do that. It's been about 20 minutes. So see if I have the ability to do a draw one-handed here. Some ice cream. Look at there. With the curl. Just saying. Yeah, so we're good. We got good looking ice cream, chocolate and vanilla. Cleaned, ready to go.